everybody, how are you doing? This is Glenda Fralin with Fralins and Friends. Today I want to talk about something. I touched on it yesterday and I thought there's some stuff that goes behind this I'd really like to talk to people about. And it's about, it is meant a kind of a motivation thing, but it's how I got motivated. And that is the fact that I went to Peru State College after working as a nurse, which I graduated in 1981 from Southeast Community College in Beatrice as a practical nurse, which I worked as for quite some time. And then in 2006 was when I graduated. It was intended to be 2005, but I got ill. So I finished the last semester in 2006. I was in my 50s. My sister is in her 50s now, and she's going back to school. So the thing is, you never have to let what happened in the past totally define your life. And I did for a long time, and that's where I'm going to come from. And I'll be back. This is my story. I grew up feeling like a dunce. That's my word for it. Feeling like I was unintelligent and I was totally inadequate for everybody, including my family. And I'm not saying they all made me feel that way, but there were some. And the very fact that teachers and students, the bullying went from as young as I can remember all the way up in through high school. And I did get a little glimmer of hope. It was my senior year, and they gave IQ tests then. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. And I went to see the counselor. He called me in and he said, "Glenda, you don't live up to what you have." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, we got your IQ back." I thought, oh, here we go. I'm going to be like 98 or something. He says, "You're 114 IQ. That's a little above average. It's not like on a grand scheme, but I have learned they used to think IQ plateaued. No longer do they think that," which is good for me. After I was an adult, it took years because that damage stays with you for a while. Don't let it take over your life for a long time. What I did was I got encouragement. And I started believing that maybe these people were right. And because people would say, you're much more intelligent than you ever put on. And so I'd worked as a nurse's aide for years. I went into college when I was 25. My poor husband and kids. I had 2 children at home, and they were young, and my poor husband was mother and father, I think, for that 1 year that I went to school. Because I studied my tail off. I was going to make this. And I graduated with honors. Who knew? On the dean's list. So I finally had proven to myself I was an intelligent person. Am an intelligent person. So all of that childhood stuff didn't completely dissipate. That doesn't happen right away. But I proved to myself that I wasn't unintelligent. and that I hadn't actually, my mind could grasp a lot when I wasn't under a lot of bullying and constant barrage of negative feedback. And I started getting more positive feedback, and it kept lifting me up and lifting me up. The other thing was I had to learn somehow to let go of my bitterness, because it was tearing me apart. I would get over it for a little bit, and then some little thing would trigger it, and I would stew on it again. And this is where letting go was so hard for me. So in my adulthood, I learned to let go by figuring out the steps of letting go and of forgiveness. I learned that forgiving helped me. It's not that I'm still holding a grudge. I'm not still holding the bitterness, because if I didn't let that go, I was going to continue with my stomach eating on itself and my head going into all kinds of places and spewing nasty junk all over every place whenever I got triggered. Now, you don't forget. Things do happen again that will remind you, and you'll maybe get a twinge of that bitterness, but you know that that was in the past. And you know that you deal with what is today. That took me until I was in my 40s. Don't let it take that long for you. I don't mean that the whole thing was like that the whole time, but it just took me that long to get through the junk. And, well, actually, I was right about 40 when I was diagnosed as bipolar, which explained a few things. It explained the depressions. It explained the bursts of energy. It explained a lot of my times when I just could not. I could hear what people were saying around me, but I wasn't present. I was not able to respond or react. People were saying, "Hey, Glenda, wake up, quit your daydreaming." I wasn't daydreaming. I wasn't anywhere. So I ended up taking medication to help control the depression and that kind of stuff. But the thoughts were mine, and I had to learn to control those. So I have to learn to react properly. Do I get angry? You betcha. Do I spout? Sometimes. Is it about then or now? Hopefully about now. The rest of it is that all of that put together proved the whole hypothesis that you ruin your life, or your life is ruined in your early adulthood or childhood. No. I made mistakes. I made big mistakes in my early adulthood, in my late teens. And I'm not going to go through all that. Don't need to. Because I just don't need to anymore. It's not a major deciding part of my life. That's why I come in front of you guys. That's why I do this stuff. Because it helps me to continue to realize, because you want to continue to grow. If you stop growing and stop learning, you're going to start heading back down that tunnel. And I've been back down the tunnel a couple of times in the past. This kind of helps me because I know that people out there are counting on me to maybe have a bad day here and there, and then they pick me up. But they're also counting on me to be squared off on the no bullying, no nastiness, and very protective of the community, which includes me. So that's all. I don't know what else to say. Do stay on just a little bit longer for a book trailer on my latest, and then look in the description for details. If you like a good historical fiction based on real people, then I would love for you to get your hands on and read Who Be Charlie Be and Finding Charlie. They are historical fiction, but they were inspired by very real people who lived right here in southeast Nebraska. And the main character, Charlie, was a mixed race man, and it's about the way he was received, the people around him, his family and other people surrounding him, and how he managed to get through a life filled with bigotry as well as love. So please do find those on Amazon and other stores listed in the description below. Just want to say I'll see you tomorrow with Buster and Rosie on the Buster and Rosie Time channel. And bring the kids because it's made for them.
Got it yesterday. It's got a flag on it even.